And let me share with you what will be our first philosophy appetizer of the season. And it's a magic word. And the magic word is trust. So if you go to the dictionary, the definition is the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. All right. So why am I putting that in here? Well, because I want for this to be the operating concept in our class. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to trust that you are here taking this class because you have some goals in mind. You're trying to reach some, landmarks, some benchmarks in your success, right? And because of that, I am always going to trust that you're going to give your best effort and you're always going to be honest with me. Okay. That's very important. I'm trusting you. I'm not a law enforcement agent. I'm not a police guy. So I'm not going to question your motivations. If you ask me if you have a problem with the homework or you were not able to do something or your kid got sick or your car broke down, whatever it is, you just let me know. Just talk to me. Okay. I'm going to trust in you. Now, at the same time, I need for you to trust in me, all right? I am here to help you succeed. That's my role. I am here to really be your guide. But I need you to trust that everything I do is for your benefit. That means that sometimes my response to your questions, my way of dealing with some of your concerns or things, it might not be what you wanted, but trust me, I'm doing it for your benefit. Now, we don't have a chance very much in here because we're not live, but when I do my in-person labs, many times when students come and ask me a question, instead of answering them, I tell them, well, what do you think? What do you think is the answer? What's your gut feeling for now? And I try to work with them so they can arrive at the answer themselves. I would love to do that in this online environment, but it's a little difficult. But again, if you ever feel that I'm giving you a response that is not what you expected, please trust me. I'm doing it for your benefit. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. And again, like I said, most of this stuff is already in your Canvas course shell, right? Um, I was born in San Francisco, California. So yes, I am a Giants and a 49ers and a Warriors fan. Sorry, Laker Nation. Uh, I was actually raised in San Juan, Puerto Rico. My father was Mexican American. My mother was Puerto Rican. And that is where I went to college and met my wife, now of 42 years. And we graduated from the university, moved to Boston, where I did my PhD in biochemistry. Now, interestingly, for a few years, I worked in that field. And then I made a total 180 in my life. And I left my life in science and spent several years working for an international church organization as a minister, as an administrator, as a publications editor, many different roles. And then it wasn't until about 2007 that I went back into teaching part time. And then in 2014, I got this job here at Long Beach City College. Let me tell you guys, I love teaching. I got to say it, I love it. I enjoy it. I get a thrill about, talking with students and hearing what their concerns are, what their dreams are. And I feel like I'm playing a part in putting a little stepping stone on your, road to success. And I love that. So just be aware that, I love what I'm doing. I'm not doing it because I cannot do anything else. I have done a lot of things in my life. I have traveled all around the world. I know people from all walks of life, from all kinds of countries. I have friends almost literally around the world. So, you know, I'm not doing this because I cannot do anything else or because I have to. I love what I'm doing. And I love Long Beach City College and the environment we have here. And I'll talk many times about the spirit that I feel is in here to help people. And as this past year has been challenging, but I feel like LBCC has, just basically, stepped up to the plate and provided a lot of resources, a lot of support to students. And again, you don't have to do this publicly. You can talk to me personally. If you are struggling with any aspect of your life, let me know. I can connect you with the resources to help you out. Okay. So don't let anything like, and I'm going to be very blunt here, anything like food or housing insecurity, anything like, stress, mental health issues. Don't let any of that get in the way. Okay. Just let me know. I'll try to help you as best I can. Most of the time, what I'll do is I'll take you to the proper resources. Okay. So I'm here for you. And that's what I wanted you to know about myself. Now, what I'm going to do now is uh, all of our class takes place in this, famous Canvas learning management system. And again, I don't know how familiar you are with it. So let me take another little poll here. Okay. So let's see if I can get to the next one. Stop share results. And let's see if I can get to the next one. Okay, here we go. This one is called Canvas Navigators. So I want you to let me know, how familiar are you with the Canvas Learning Management System, or LMS? So either I've never used any kind of LMS, or I've never used Canvas, but I have used other ones. You may have used Moodle or Blackboard or one of those other ones. I've used it, but I still get confused about where to find stuff. And I've used it and I have a good feel for how to use it. I'm going to launch it here. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this Canvas question and how you're feeling about your navigation through Canvas. Okay, give it a few moments here, and then we'll see. Okay, we have still a few more seconds. If you guys want to chime in and let me know where you're at with Canvas. Oops, I got something in my eye. Sorry. Okay, I think we've got it there. Let's see what the results were. So pretty much, about 60% of you are good with it. And then some of you have either never used it or used other systems or are still a little struggling with it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and um, walk us through the Canvas course shell. So I'm going to give you a little brief tour, and then we'll take a break. If you have any questions during this part, just so we don't distract everybody, just put them on the chat. I'll come back to you in a little bit, okay? So let's go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see, well, how do I get there? So hopefully you're seeing a web page here. This is the Long Beach City College homepage, lbcc.edu. And there are two ways you can get to our Canvas place from here. One of them is, you can see here at the top, there's a link that says Canvas LMS. And if you click that, it'll bring you to a page where you have a link here and you can get directly into Canvas. Now, you will log in with your credentials, your student credentials. The other way you can do it is, again, let me go back here to the home page, is over here on the left is the Viking portal. You'll have to excuse me, but usually at this time of day, my house internet is a little slow, so some of these pages might take a little bit longer to load than I would like to. This is the Viking portal. That was the other link. And again, you can log in here with your student credentials. And when you log in, it'll take you directly into the Canvas port, or what do you call it, the landing site, right? You can also, if you want, from your browser, you can type in lbcc. Oh, looks like I already have it in here. .instructure.com, and that will basically take you again to the login page. Now, because I'm already logged in, it opened up directly here to our page. Okay, so those are some of the ways that you can access our course. Once you are in the course, and let me switch over here. Hold on a second. I'm going to switch here to another window. Once you are in our course shell, again, yours may look a little different than mine, but this is typically the way the dashboard of Canvas looks like. So all your different courses are going to show here. Of course, I have a few here that you don't have because I teach other classes, and there's other resources that you'll have access to at some point. But you want to find the one that corresponds to ours, and that is over here. uh, 50135, 50369. Now, there are two sections here, and they're combined into one course shell. So when you click there, you're gonna find our homepage. And this is where you start everything, okay? Now, a few things about Canvas. There are, on the left side, there are two like bars. There's one on the far left, which is called the global navigation bar. There's a couple things in there that are important, okay? One of them is over here, let me scroll down, help. If you have any problem with your access or with your technology things, with dealing with, your files and stuff, there's a lot of resources here, and probably again, your page might look a little different. Mine might have a few more items than yours, but the main thing is you can go there for help. The other one is the one here that says inbox. Now I'm going to show you my page now very quickly so you can see what it looks like. Now inbox is essentially the Canvas messaging system. This is how I like to communicate with my students. This is some old students here, so I'm going to get out of here soon. Sorry about that. And again, I'm going to come back here, back to our course. Never mind those names there. I probably erase that part of the recording in a little while. Okay, now very important, because I don't have another way of communicating with you, it's very important that at some point you go here to your account. And again, yours is going to look different than mine. And over here where it says notifications, you want to go in there and enable communications. That way, when I post announcements, when I send messages, you'll be able to get those directly to your email. Now, make sure that if you don't have an lbcc.edu email address, that whatever your email is properly linked to your student ID, so that you get all those emails. Okay, cool. Now, over here, the next column is called the course navigation bar. Notice there's also there a student technology help desk connection that you can use. If you have problems, what I'll do is it'll open to a separate page, and this is the student technology help desk, and they are there to help you out, all right? And if you have any questions about technology issues, you can go in there and you can get help, all right? Let's go back to our homepage. I just told you a little bit of myself, but if you want to know more, there's a little link here to my profile, and you can find more information about myself. Also, what are the ways in which you can connect with me? All right. And if you followed my previous announcements, you probably already went through the syllabus and through some of these modules here. And let me see what I want to focus on. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and go here. I'm going to go back to this home page. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch the view here. I'm going to switch to something that's kind of a little more like what you will see. So this is the student view. Of course, this is, I guess, the professor's version of the student view. So it may be that it's, again, not exactly the same thing you will see, but hopefully you can see the same links in here. And I want you to go to the syllabus. Now, it may be that you right now don't have the ability to switch screens and stuff. So if you can't, that's fine. This is our syllabus. And everything you need to know about our course is here. All right. If you want a downloadable, did I spell that right? Downloadable. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a word. Anyway, PDF, you can click here and you can download a file, a PDF file that has this same information here. All right. So I want to make sure that you spend you're going to need at least about half an hour to go through this. Okay. It's long and it's packed with information. That's what they requested of us. Sorry, I'm only a messenger, but I need you to go through there and look through everything in there. What are the materials you need? How the course works, all right? How do we communicate with each other? It's very important, okay? And of course, grades. I know you guys want to know about grades. So the way it works here is everything is online. You have different kinds of assignments. You have homework, you have lab reports, you have quizzes, and you have exams. All right. All of those are online, and it tells you here what each one of those is, and it tells you here what percent contribution each one of those categories provides for the total grade. All right. So you have 4 categories: tests, which includes quizzes and exams, lab reports, homework, and we're also going to have discussions. I'll probably talk about that a little later in our talk here. All right. There's plenty of support services for you. I'm scrolling very fast here. I'm hoping it's refreshing properly. Please read this section about conduct and etiquette. And let me highlight one thing here. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the file version of this because I want to highlight something here. I'm showing you now the file, the one that you would download, right? So over here, I said, what are some of the rules? And this one is very important because since we are communicating in a written format, and some of these times you're going to interact with each other, it's very important you realize that many times when you talk to someone, they can see you and they can read your body language. But when you write, it's very difficult to communicate accurately what you're meaning in writing, unless you're like, Shakespeare or, Mark Twain or a major writer like that. And I don't think any of us is of that skill level, right? Now, here is something that I want to highlight for you. Language. So I know that in our society, the standards with respect to vulgarity and profanity are very low. But in Dr. D.A.'s house, I have very low tolerance for inappropriate language. Okay, so any kind of language that you find too easy to use with your friends, please don't use it here. Okay, be careful what you say. We're not going to allow anything that's offensive. Okay, very important. I also want you to read this section here on academic integrity. I'll repeat that several times, particularly when you take your tests. Here are some tips for how to succeed in this class. I've added a module to your Canvas page where I ask my spring semester students to share with you some of their tips about, how you should go about, in order to be successful. Now, super important, at the very bottom of the syllabus, we have these important dates. The last date to drop with a W is the 22nd. That's a week from tomorrow. The last day to drop with W is July 23rd. But more importantly for me, exams. Right? So there are 4 dates that have been reserved for you to take your exams, and all of them are at 7 p.m. That means that today you go and you work on your schedule. If you have work, if you have other classes, you make it happen. Okay, I need you to make those dates. Okay, the exam is not like I posted out there and you have all day anytime to take it. Nope, you have to take it exactly at this time. Now, if you have a problem, talk to me ahead of time, please. All right, talk to me. Don't go making up your own conjectures. Don't drop the class because you cannot take the exams at 7 p.m. Just talk to me first, okay? But make sure that you go back to the syllabus and check those out, okay? Okay, so let me, okay, so let's see. I think that we have a few questions here. Do we have a time limit on the exams? Yes. Each exam, you have a maximum of 2 hours. So once you start, and there's a short window for you to start it. Once you start, there's a built-in timer that counts 2 hours. And if you don't finish with those 2 hours, the system shuts down and it won't let you submit your answers. All right. And the exams, no, they're not all the same. They're going to vary a little bit. The first exam, if you look through the syllabus and what do you call that? The topics, you'll realize that the first 3 units of this course are pretty much a review of your introductory chemistry class or Chem 2. So for most of you, it's going to be just a review. You're going to navigate it, I expect, I hope, fairly easily. All right. It gets a little more complicated, or not complicated. It gets a little deeper after that. Let's say that. Okay, cool. All right. So I think I lost my screen share. Let me see what else I wanted to talk about. Okay, let's go back to our page. And let's go back here. We're in our syllabus right now. I want to go back to our homepage. There are two ways to get stuff in our Canvas shell. What I've done for you is I've organized things in a week by week manner. All right. So if you go here on the left hand course navigation bar to where it says modules, that is the way the course gets organized. And I had asked you to go through this section here called Before We Begin. So hopefully you've gone through all that already. Also through the general course resources. I'll come back to that in a moment. And then after that, you have a section that says week by week navigation. So for example, for this week, I've placed in here all the activities that you would be doing this week if we were doing this in real time. You don't have to do it this way, okay? You don't have to, because technically what you have to do is you have to turn in certain assignments that are due this week, and I have them in a separate section here. And then there's other assignments to work on. Now, how do you do this? Well, what I've done here is by the way, there's a page here that says Zoom session, introduction to the course. So that's where this recording is going to go when we finish. So in each one of these, I have what is called a suggested plan of study. I strongly recommend that you download those things. So let me show you what this week's looks like. Let's see. I have it here on a separate file here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can either download it or you can get a mini preview in the Canvas page itself. If you want to download it, this is what it's going to look like. Notice what I've done here is, for example, today, 6/14, we have this session. And then I have some recommended things that you could have been doing today. For example, start studying Unit 1, which is Chapter 1. By the way, units do not equal chapters, okay? Each unit is composed of at least one chapter of the textbook, but it may cover more than one. All right? I'll tell you what the Quantum Cafe is after the break. We have an activity called the Experiment G. It's a graphing activity. We have a little tour of the lab. Look, guys, I know that you guys are not in there physically, but I want you to get a look of what it looks like, what it feels like. And then tomorrow, I would recommend you start Unit 2, watch the lab safety videos, work on Experiment M, and notice that by tomorrow at midnight, we have our first quiz. I'll talk about that in a moment. So I strongly recommend, this is from experience, that you pace yourself according to this suggested study plans, okay? I strongly recommend, don't rush trying to get ahead. Don't fall behind, okay? Again, let me say that again. Don't rush trying to get ahead. Don't let yourself fall behind, okay? Very important, especially in a summer class where things are compressed into just 8 weeks. It's very easy if you get behind 1 or 2 days, guys, that could easily be a unit and 3 assignments that you're behind. So please stay on pace, okay? All right, let's go back to our course here. So that's one of the things that I suggest is that you follow this study plan. And let's say, for example, this is week number 1. I'm back here. You have several topics for study. Notice that this week we're covering Unit 1, Unit 2, and we're starting Unit 3. Yes, in a real-time class, I would cover Unit 1 on the first day, Unit 2 on the second day. And by the third day of the week, we'd be starting unit 3. All of that stuff is essentially CHEM 2 reviews, and they are going to be covered in the exam that's coming up next week. So you already have your first exam next week. Quiz is tomorrow. Now, let me show you a few other things here. Let's talk a little bit about what you see here. For each unit, I have an introduction that tells you pretty much what are the objectives of that unit and what are some of the activities related to that unit. Realize that although I've tried to match labs to the topics of the units, it doesn't always work that way time-wise. So be aware of that, okay? Notice here that we have for unit 1, we have several lecture videos. Now, notice that this one is broken up into several segments, different videos. So you basically watch those videos and you take notes, and I'll show you how that works in a moment. Okay. Here's the disclaimer, and I'm sorry about this. Like I said, I had an injury last year, and because of that, there are several videos that I have not been able to remake. And let me start by saying, Disney Plus is not looking for me as a video editor, okay? I did not get nominated for any Academy Awards this year. But my videos are not that bad, according to my students. They're not that bad. Unfortunately, there's a few of them that all I could do was I could take the lectures that I did last spring, like spring of 2020, okay, before I had my injury. And I've been able to put those in there, but I have not been able to go back and edit them. So they're a little longer, they're a little glitchy. So you may have to, grab yourself your Frappuccino and sit down and watch it in segments, watch a little bit, pause it, watch a little bit, pause it. And please forgive me. I just have a hard time kind of sitting at a keyboard for a long period of time. And I've tried to focus more on making the videos that I could do after that, make them better, as opposed to going back and re-editing those. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, let's see. I would say this is a good time to take a short break. So let me take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to work with your different kinds of assignments. Okay. In the meantime, if you don't mind, if you have any questions, you can put them on the chat, and I'll look at them in a few moments. I'm going to pause the recording, and then I'll be right back. Okay. Recording. Okay, so we're back from our break, and what I want to do for a moment is I want to take us back to our Canvas page where we were before, and show you something, which is that for every unit, there are some PowerPoint notes that you can download, okay? So for every one of those, you can download the PowerPoint notes. Now, let me show you what they look like. The version you're gonna download is not exactly the same one that I am going to be using. Let me show you here the one for, okay, hold on a second. I have too many windows open here. Oh, here it is. This is the one for Unit 3, which is the one about compounds. And so as you'll see, when you go there and you download that, it has the topics, right? And then what it does is it has pretty much what I go through, but it has blank spaces in there, blank spaces. So the idea is that as you watch the PowerPoint on my video, you can fill in the blanks. You can do this by either downloading the PowerPoint and writing on it directly, or if you want to just basically print it and do it by hand, one of those ways. The advantage of videos is that unlike a regular class, you can stop it, right? In a regular class, you can't tell the professor, stop while I write this down. But here you can. You can pause me anytime you want in the video if you need to fill in the blanks there, okay? Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you is, obviously, this is week 1, right? I'm showing you week 1, but organizing it by weeks might sometimes make it difficult for you to find where things are after a while. So for example, let's say down the, 4 weeks into the courses that when was it that we talked about the periodic table and the elements? I forget what week that was. I don't want you to be, scrolling through all this stuff here to find that, right? So what you can do is you can come back here to the home page, and at the bottom of the home page is a dashboard, and it has links directly to each one of those. So let's say, for example, you wanted to find out something about the periodic table, and that's unit 2. So you click in there, and it's going to open to the module where all those PowerPoints and the lecture videos are. And some of them I even have the homework in there, but not all of them are set up that way. Okay. So that is another way you can navigate. Now, by the way, at the bottom of this modules page, we have, after all of those week by week activities, they're organized by topics. So you can come back here and access all of the PowerPoints in here, or you can go through some of the lab activities that you need to watch, some of the videos on lab safety and using an analytical balance and stuff. And then also, for example, all of the PowerPoints and stuff for here. So like I said, you can access materials in different ways here, all right? Okay, let me go back here to the top. Second. And like I said, there are some general course resources in here. I just put this in today, suggestions to incoming students. So this is essentially my students from the spring left you a little legacy here. If you want to download that document and read some of their comments, some of their suggestions for how to succeed in the class. All right. Like I said, LBCC is committed to student success, and I have here a list of all the resources that are available for students. So please take care of that. The only one here is supplemental instruction. We were not able to get a supplemental instruction program for this summer semester. So sorry about that. You're gonna have to basically rely just on me to get your questions answered. Now, like I said, your weekly schedule has all of the assignments that are due on any given week. But if you want, I have in here another document you can download, and this one has all of the assignments for the whole semester. Discussions, quizzes, exams, homework, and lab activities. And it tells you per week and per date when they are due. And so if you want to download that and maybe keep it on your desk or handy so you can have a kind of like a more global view of the assignments, that might help you a ton, okay? As opposed to the week by week thing. Oh, did I just, give me a few seconds while I work this out here. I accidentally closed the window that had the page in it. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, my apologies. And I tell you guys, I'm still, I've been doing this for a year and I still mess up. So don't worry if you mess up. I understand. I'm one of you, okay? We're brothers and sisters here. All right, let me go back to our page here once more and show you about assignments, all right? Okay, so here we go. This is, again, our homepage. Let's go to the modules. And again, I'm using a view here that mimics the student view. It's not exactly the same. Okay, so your textbook. All of the instructions are in this page here under the general course resources, access to the e-textbook. Everything you need to know is in there. You were automatically enrolled in the inclusive access program, which means that you already have access to the book, and I think your account has been charged. Now, if you have either the 3rd or the 4th edition of the book already, or if you have access to the 5th edition by some other method, don't tell me which one it is, you should opt out and get your money back, okay? If you didn't, then you probably need to stay in here because homework is from the textbook. and that is part of your grade. B, there are some topics that I will not be able to cover in lecture, and you'll have to study on your own. So you need the book for that, okay? So those are the reasons for it. Okay, let's go back here. And the book you're gonna find in this link here that says course materials. And when you click that, it should open up to a page that will have an image, and it has here read now. Now that will open in a separate tab or page or whatever your browser works. It's not going to work if I do it now, because in the student view I cannot access it from my side. But that's the one that you're going to use. Notice this is the 5th edition, and I believe you were charged $54.99. But again, like I said, if you can get a used copy, even if it's the 3rd or 4th edition for like 20, 25 bucks, go for it. Okay, go for it. What's going to happen is when we go to our assignments, and let me go here back to the modules. And again, for example, this week you're going to be working on, go down here, you're going to be working on homework 1 and 2. Notice that they're not due this week, but you're going to work on them earlier. Okay, don't wait till the last minute. So homework 1, homework 2. So the way that works basically is you click that link and it opens up a page where you're going to submit your assignment. So what will happen is, let me see if it's already open. Yeah, it's already open. So you're going to answer your homework on paper or digitally, and then you are going to upload the file here. Okay, I have a page in your before we begin module that tells you exactly how you upload homework. Notice here, there's a rubric. I am not going to grade homework assignments. I'm just going to check to make sure you completed it, at least, most of it, or at least half of it. But this is on you. This is your practice, okay? Homework is not for me to figure out how much you know. Homework is for you to practice. Since we don't have an in-person class where you can go over problems and practice a lot, this is your practice time, okay? So make sure you're diligent about it. Now, some of you might wonder, how do I know what the homework is? I'm glad you asked. There's several ways you can do that, okay? Up here, again, going back to our modules, in the course resources, there's something here that says homework assignments. You can also go to the dashboard in our homepage, and you can access here that same module, the general course resources. You can access it there, and it'll take you exactly there, and it has the homework assignments. Now, here's the thing. Number 1, the assignments are numbered per unit, not per book chapter. So in other words, homework 4, or let's say unit 4 homework, is for that unit. But if you are in, for example, homework TRO 5th edition, that's going to be different. So what you want to do is download the homework set that goes with your edition of the textbook, either 3rd or 4th or 5th. And no, they're not all the same. Let me show you what one of those looks like. I should have it in here somewhere. Here's one. This is the 5th edition one, okay? So this is what the document looks like. Notice that HW1, HW2, that's the unit 1 homework, unit 2 homework, unit 3. And it tells you, like it says here, the chapter and the question number. You're only responsible for those as part of your homework assignment. Hey, you can do as many as you want, but you're only responsible for these 20 or 10, depending on the chapter. Now, for example, look down here at unit 4. If you are using chapter 5, I'm sorry, not chapter. If you are using the 5th edition of the textbook, which is the one that's on your Canvas course page, notice that homework 4 includes problems from chapter 4 and problems from chapter 5. Notice that what we call homework 5 is unit 5, but if you're using the 5th edition of the textbook, the questions are all from chapter 6. And you might say, Dr. D.A., why do you have to make it so difficult? It's not my fault. The author, Nivaldo Tro, decided when he made the new editions to change the chapter numbers. And he split some of them that used to be one chapter, split it into 2 and sometimes 3. And I've chosen to keep the course organized by topics. So those are the units, okay? So sorry about that. Just make sure that you look at which edition of the textbook you have and you download and do the homework assignments corresponding to that edition. Please don't get mixed up, okay? All right, let's go back here to our page. Now that you know how to find those assignments, let's look at other assignments. So for example, this week, week number 1, like I said, there are some assignments that you are going to be turning in, and by that I mean uploading, and other ones that you're going to be working on. I strongly recommend you work on these. Start now. Don't wait till the last minute. All of them are due next week. All right. So let's look at some of these. Let's look at quiz number 1. So the way quizzes work is when you click there, right now the quiz is not open. As it says here, it will be available at midnight tonight, essentially, but it will be available all throughout the day tomorrow. Okay, so you can take it any time of the day. However, once you start it, you have 20 minutes to finish it. All right. So make sure you're ready to start. You have 20 minutes to finish it. You might ask, is it open book? Is it closed book? Look, guys, I'm not watching. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure that you understand that you have 20 minutes to finish it. Okay. Once you start, you can start anytime, but 20 minutes. And some quizzes, the questions allow you to go back and redo the question or something. I think this first one, there's no remakes. So you have to do it one time. And that's it. Once you're done, you're done. Okay. So those are the quizzes. They're all going to be online. They're typically either multiple choice, true, false, or fill in the blank kind of stuff. And it's all done online. Okay. Now, let's look at another one. This is experiment G. This is the graphs. So I want you guys to practice doing graphs, and that's the purpose of this activity, mostly because you're going to be doing graphs in the future in other labs. And as students at LBCC, you have access to Microsoft Excel for free. Now, if you want to use something else, that's fine. I don't mind, just as long as you follow the instructions. Usually, a typical lab will have the assignment. You can see here the actual handout that I would give you if we were in a physical lab, but it has the procedures, some introduction. Some of them are longer because I just basically scanned the old lab manual. Some of them are not, but this one walks you through how to do the graph step by step. So you can go through it. You can either download it or watch it there. And then there's a little introduction video here, and then the instructions of what you do. Notice that in this case, you're going to be uploading your homework, and it'll consist of your graph and the answers to the post-lab questions, and it tells you what page it is. Notice at the bottom here, this is how I want you to do your files. So last name underscore, first name underscore, and then the activity. So this would be, for example, Rogers underscore Steve underscore expg. That's the lab. The reason for that is that if I had to download your files, this will automatically alphabetize them for me, make it a lot easier. And remember, if it's easier for me, then it's easier for you. Okay, so that's the way it's going to work. How do you do this? Once more, let me go back here to the modules, and I have a page here in before we begin that says how to work with files, and we're going to talk a little bit about the assignments. Now, again, going through this week by week, let's say that 3 weeks down the road, you're doing another lab where you had to do graphs and you forgot a few things, but you can't remember what week we did it on. I don't want you to struggle with that. We also have over here a link that says assignments. You can go in there and all of your assignments are in there. Now, right now, the view that I'm showing you shows them, by kind of like in order. So the quiz is due tomorrow, the experiment, the graphing thing is due on Wednesday. Then you have a discussion thing that's going to be due later. You know what? You can also go here in the top and it says show by type, and it separates them into, discussions, lab reports, homework. And so you can find whatever you need here. Now, there are some of these labs. For example, let me show you the one you're going to be turning in next week. We're going to be studying the property called the melting point and how to use it to identify a substance. So again, it has instructions, it has videos and stuff, and it tells you down here that at some point you will receive a data set. This is kind of small here. Let me zoom in a little. Okay. It says you will receive a data set which you will use to identify your unknown compound. Okay, I gave you instructions, but just in case, let me tell you how that's going to work. What you do is you go here to the link that says grades, right? And it's going to give you a list of the activities. Now, as they get graded, this is going to be sorted between graded and ungraded. But you scroll down here to that particular activity, which is called Experiment 1 Melting Point. Notice that here on the far right, there's a little like dialog box thing. Click on that. That tells you there's a message here from your instructor. And it says, please use the attached file as your data set for this lab activity. So you will download the file, and let me show you what it will look like in this particular case. Okay, just very quickly here because we're running out of time. Actually, we're over, but we'll take another 5 minutes and then we'll go back. Let me show you what that file will look like. Here it is. So this is a typical data sheet that you get. Notice that the unknown compound has a number and it tells you what was done. It gives you the data and it tells you what to do with it. And in the video, I will show you how you will work with the data you receive to arrive at the answers that they're asking. Okay, so that's how you are going to be getting your unknowns for these different lab activities. For the first one, the graphing one, everybody's doing the same one. There's no quote unquote unknowns in there. Okay, let me go back and close out. There's one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is our discussion board. Okay, so here we go. This is a link called discussions. And here's the thing. I don't have a good way of generating interaction between you. Like in a typical class, during labs, we have a great time. I wish you could be there. We have a great time in lab. You get to work with each other. You make friends. You get upset at your lab partner for forgetting something. Everything that's involved in building a community. Unfortunately, here in the online environment, it's very difficult to do that. So what I have is we have Canvas has this thing called discussions. I call it the Quantum Cafe. Now, right now, I have 4 discussion threads in there that you are going to be participating in, and they're going to be graded. And I can see that the first one here called Getting to Know You, already about 40 people have already responded. Excellent. Good job, guys. But you can also start your own discussion threads in here if you want, okay? This is your area. The Quantum Cafe is for all of you. Now, here's the thing. I know what you're thinking. Well, I don't want to start a discussion thread in there where the professor can see what we're talking about, right? I know you guys. Hey, I've been there. So what some of my students have done is they go and they set up what's called a Discord. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that platform. It's kind of like a, group chatting interaction platform. And you can do that. Of course, I'm not going to get in there. I don't know what it's going to be. So if you would prefer to do it that way, that's fine. Like I said, whatever whatever method you can set up to interact, that'd be great. One of the suggestions that your you know, predecessors in the spring semester said was to set up study groups, and it helps for some students. When I was in college, I didn't have a good time with that. I had a hard time because I was kind of like always in a different wavelength, I guess. Uh, but many times it did help when I was in grad school to set up study groups. Then it helped because then I was like really at the bottom of the totem pole. I didn't know squat. So it helped. So, you know, those are some of the ways. But like I said, feel free to use this discussion platform that I call the Quantum Cafe. Feel free to use it and set up your own threads in here and talk and stuff. Uh, my intervention will be minimal unless you use it to pose a question and you request that I go in. But I'm not gonna be going there, honestly, guys, because there's 72 of you at least, and I'm gonna be grading like 3 or 4 assignments per week. So I don't have to a lot of time to go outside of the bounds here. Okay, so discussions are like says here, you know, the first one is basically getting to know you. You guys are going to post a little bio here, and then what you'll do is, in order to get full credit, is you're going to have to uh, respond to 2 other students posts. Okay, and then later on we're going to do an activity where I'm going to put you in groups and you're going to get to, you know, work on the answers as a group, and it'll be kind of random and stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out ways in which I can get you all to interact. I know it's hard, and some of you probably could care less, right? Let me just check for a moment, and because we're running out of time here, I need to finish in the next 3 minutes. Let me see if I forgot anything that I want to do. I would have loved to cover a few more things, but probably we should just leave it there. Okay. Um, does anybody have any other questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or just put it on the chat. Any other questions about the class itself? Like I said, uh, today you should have probably started already with Unit 1. Your favorite, right? Significant figures and measurements and conversions. I know you love that stuff. You can't wait. I hope you like the way I explain it. You don't have to do it my way, but just if you want to follow the way that I do it, it works. Like I said, you know, 90 something percent of the time. There's sometimes when it doesn't work, you have to think a little more, but we'll learn as we go. Question: do we have office hours? I will have office hours beginning probably Wednesday. And I think what I'm going to do is, I had 23 students here today, so it looks like 5 o'clock might be a good time. And then probably what I'll do is I'll have 2 days a week at 5 o'clock and 2 days maybe in the morning. Uh, because I know some of you are active in the morning and you work in the evening or afternoon. So I'll try to work it that way. I'll play it by ear, but I will give you the office hours by Wednesday. And I'll begin Wednesday. So I'm sorry, I'll tell you by tomorrow, and we'll probably start them on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. All right. And that'll be like a Zoom session, and you can come in. If you want to talk personally, we have breakout rooms. We can talk, you know, one-on-one. If you want to go over some problems or some questions, we can do it in a group. We can do it individually. You know, whatever works. I think I'm not doing it tomorrow because I think people are still going to be starting to get their stuff together and stuff. So I think by Wednesday, some of you will have been doing some stuff. Don't forget the quiz tomorrow. I will send out frequent announcements and reminders. So please make sure you check that announcements page in Canvas, and that you have your notifications enabled so you can get the email notifications also. All right. And of course, you can also, if you can't make it to office time, just send me your questions. Now, one thing I was going to say is, preferably, if you don't mind, if you can, I would prefer if you send it through this inbox thing here, which unfortunately right now it's not going to work because on the student view I can't get to it. But if you can use the Canvas messaging, and let me tell you why. The reason for that is that, and you should do this too, is I have the Canvas app on my phone, and so I like that. Nice. and I get what's it called, like message. I get a notification. I get a little ping that somebody's selling something. So I will respond more promptly if you send me messages through Canvas than if you send me an email or a text message. But any of those methods will work. And I will try to respond to anything I get before 6 p.m. I'll respond to you within that same time frame. Anything I get after 6 p.m., I'll respond by the next morning. Hopefully by, between 8 and 9 in the morning. All right.